Blessings, blessings, blessings. My name is Mercedes Carr, and I am so excited to have you all here for our live preview of the What's in Your Hands webinar. So today I am here with Pastor Praise. I am here with Administrator, Prophet Amanda Barnhill, and we are going to be diving into the topic of what is in your hands. And so even as you all come into the room, I just want to give you a little debrief as it pertains to this live webinar and what that looks like. And so what is in your hands is going to be a conversation surrounding the importance of knowing what God has already placed inside of your hands that can build wealth, that can cause you to come into a place of really possessing the land, utilizing what it is that God has given you in order to bring forth prosperity, in order for you to truly build. It's truly coming into the alignment of the truth that you don't need anything extra. And oftentimes we believe that if we don't have A, B, C, or D, we cannot go forth. But in this season, God is saying everything that you need is already in your hands. And we are going to help you see what is in your hands so that you can activate it for impact. And so even as you all are coming on the live, I want you to type in what is one thing that is in your hands. What is one thing that you are good at? What is one thing that you are good at, whether it be big or small? And as you are typing this in the chat, I want to go ahead and take a moment to introduce our speakers for the day. And so we have Amanda Barnhill, and Amanda Barnhill is a marketplace coach. She is a business coach and a strategic administrator. She is an author and a prophetic voice in the marketplace for regions, spheres of influence, and she coaches others to discover purpose through what's already in their hands. And so she is an expert at what is already in your hands. And then we have Apostle Praise, and she is a marriage, family, and business coach. She is a pastor, a minstrel, a visionary, and an apostolic voice, amongst other things. She is known for helping to shift people, regions, atmospheres from just seeing the problem into embracing the truth that they are the answer and they are the blueprint. And so as we are going forth, we're going to have a powerful time of conversation regarding stories, strategies, faith keys to help you shift from being stuck into a place of stewardship. So would either of you like to just go ahead and just say hello to the people before we get started? Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us. Thank you. Thank you, Coach Mercedes, as well.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for having us and hosting us. And I'm looking forward to the conversation for today.
Awesome. Wow. Anything you wanted to share, Amanda?
No, I am piggybacking. I am excited to deep dive into what we're going to share today and being able to just get the wheels turning so that you guys understand what is in your hands and how easy it is and tangible it is. It's not far-fetched. So I'm excited to deep dive today. So thank you again.
Absolutely. So as a business owner, this has me very excited because I know that God is always increasing us. He's always revealing new things and just taking us from glory to glory, even entrepreneurship wise. So I'm so excited for this conversation. I want to start out by asking you guys, what would you guys think is the main danger that people face as it pertains to waiting for money instead of activating what you already have? I know that we talked a little bit about the importance of using what is already in your hands. And so many people are waiting for that big break. They're waiting for the finances, the investor, the miracle check. I want to know, why is that dangerous to wait on breakthrough financially before going forth and using what is already in your hands?
Go ahead, Pastor Franks.
Yep. Okay. Why is it dangerous to wait? Because I think I might be going to one of the other questions that we have, because it's all a myth with regards to what you have in your hands. Money does not grow on trees. Okay. And everything, I was even reflecting on that. Everything that we have started from something.
Yeah.
Okay, what we're doing here started from something. Creation started from something. Human beings started from something. Every other thing that we have around us have started from substance. It did not particularly start from money.
Right.
And money is a reward.
Mm-hmm.
And even when, let's just say, I mean, Amanda works in the financial industry. Even when you go to the financial industry and you want a loan, they would ask you, what do you have?
Yeah.
What are you going to put down? What's the idea?
Mm-hmm.
What's the collateral to what you're asking for? So they would not even give you money until you have something to also invest, or something to create, or something that will bring forth, a product or a result. So it's really what is in our hands that everything starts from. And I yield the mic.
That is so good. And I just wanted to touch on this really quick, because what you said, Apostle Praise, was so important. Because even when you are thinking about, getting investors and things of that nature, or even a loan, not only do they pay attention to what they have, they pay attention to how you have stewarded what's already in your hands. So they're looking at your credit history. They're looking to see if you're a good borrower. They're looking to see if you're doing what you need to do. And so even as we think about the parable of the talents, are you hiding those things in the ground, or are you allowing God to yield fruit from them? So thank you so much for that. That definitely incited, my wheels as well. Prophet Amanda, what were you going to share?
Yes, I definitely agree with what Coach Praise has shared. I also would say that there's practical and then there's the spiritual part. When you do not actually align yourself and you decide, hey, I'm going to wait, or we make the excuse, let's be honest, oh, I'm waiting on the Lord. When we do those things and we do not really go forth with what's in our hands, the blood is actually on our hands. There are people who are waiting on us. Yeah. They need our answer to be the answer for the next level. And so when we're waiting and we're not doing our part, we're part of a whole. We're part of the body of Christ. So when we're part and we don't do our part, we inflict injury to the operations that are supposed to flow. And that's even in natural processes. If someone is on the line in a factory and you aren't doing your part and all the stuff is coming through, it's piling up and it's going to cause injury and issues and damage to the products that are coming, right? Mm-hmm. So when we're not in alignment and we're making the excuses of why I'm not using what's in my hand, or why I'm waiting on Jesus when he gave you the ability and the power to get wealth, mm-hmm. then we are the problem instead of the solution.
That is excellent. That is excellent. And I love how you kind of brought those two things together and just put another level of accountability on that, where it's not only, yes, you need to use what's in your hands for yourself, but the generations, your family, the people attached to you, there is something that you have that is going to build upon those things. And if you don't pave the way and, use what you already have, you are actually stifling others. You're stifling your community. You're stifling your region. Rather than being an answer, you are kind of operating in the problem realm. So that is so excellent. What would you all say is the biggest reason as to why people overlook what is already in their hands, their skills, their expertise, their experience, their ideas? Why are people so quickly to overlook those things and live in that stuck place rather than going forth in what God has given them?
Okay, some of it could be lack of experience. Sometimes, and I say lack of experience because if you really, like what we're trying to even do, if you had somebody to coach you, someone to mentor you through, to really do an introspective and to check on your skills, your experiences, your capacity or ability or your education, they'll be able to let you know that those things are quite useful, or that they're tools that you already have. So if you don't have that experience and you don't even have guidance, then those things will be overlooked. And then sometimes you have people that are always looking at other people. They always admire other people. Oh, I like how she does it. Not realizing that you can even do better than they're doing. Mm-hmm. The other person is standing out because they've been able to churn out what they have, or package what they have, or they've been able to be exposed to know how to use what they have.
Yeah.
And there are other factors that you have. People just, people have low self-esteem. They don't think that there's anything worthy of them, and so everything that comes out of me is because I've had a bad experience before. So therefore, a lot of negative things have affected their minds, and so on and so forth.
Absolutely.
Absolutely agree with that. I would also go into saying that sometimes we don't value what's in our hands. So we're aware of it's there. It's there. People ask us all the time about it. Can you do this? You get a repeat of whether you give an advice or whether you organize things, you're getting a repeat. And it's a pattern of people coming to you for the same thing, but you don't value what's in your hands, or you don't think that it's adequate enough because it's not Fortune 500 in your mind. And because of that, you don't think that it can multiply income. When actuality, it's in your hands to multiply. So I think a lot of times, more often than not, to her point, people get into their own minds, their own emotions about insecurities, fears, or not valuing what's in their hands. And especially when you're coming into the business sector, shameless plug, I think you need to consider counseling. Because it's part of, as a business owner, being a kingdom business owner, because you can make money, but money is not wealth. That's not the only part of wealth.
Yeah.
And so in order to really come into a place of wealth, you have to be healed in those spaces, or begin your process of healing, because things are going to come up. If you're a true kingdom business owner, things are going to come up. There are things you're going to face. So it's coming into the space of recognizing your value, how important you are. That rejection is, people are going to say no, but how do you deal with rejection? How do you deal with the insecurity of not feeling like, I don't have enough? Because like she was saying, people are comparing themselves. That person does it better than me, so why would I do it? And having to battle that does take counseling and healing as part of it, because you won't be able to carry the weight fully if you don't understand that that's okay. It's you learning your value, you learning that what's in your hands is important, and we need it.
Yes, that is excellent. And something that I'm taking away from what both of you are sharing is that there's just this for us to live from a place of having God cultivate in us a way to love what is already in our hands, even if it's in seed form, because oftentimes we want to see the full manifestation. If it's not given the full manifestation, I'm not going to plant it. But when we think about a seed or a tree that bears a lot of fruit, it starts out as that tiny little seed. And until you put it in the ground and water it and cultivate it, it could be years before you see the reproduction. It could be years before you see that perpetual fruit, those perpetual blessings. But if we never put if we never put the seed in the ground, we're never going to be able to yield that. So loving every stage and phase of the process, I think, is so important in valuing what is in your hands. And so even as you are sharing that, I know each of you have had the opportunity to coach people in recognizing their gifts and their resources. So what would you say are some of the most overlooked tools that people have that they don't even realize are valuable? Things that people carry and possess on a daily basis that they have put to the side and says, oh, that's just a little book. Oh, that's just a little gift. That's just something I do for my family. What do you see as something that is often overlooked that actually could be something super valuable that God wants to use?
I'm laughing because you have people who they call chatterboxes. They talk too much. Somebody say they talk too much. Your mouth is a tool. She's talking too much. She's always forward. The mouth is a tool. You have like speaking careers these days, public speaking. Yeah. You have that family member who's always leading, and wanting to head the family conversation, and does presentation in the classroom, and does presentation for work, and you do presentation for things. That is a tool. It means that you have a speaking skill that can be turned into a money-making machine. So those are it means that you also have communication skills, which is what is needed to be able to speak and to speak eloquently, or for people to be able to understand and sell whatever you need to sell. So it's one of the skills that people overlook. And you get people to say, "Oh, you're talking too much. You're talking too much." But if you're that person that is always speaking, it means that there's something inside of you that can be used. We have so many other skills. You have women who are always a person that caters for people for family dues. You catering, you're always in the kitchen and you're always cooking. They ask you, "What are you doing?" "I'm in the kitchen, I'm cooking." I have a friend of mine who, she closes her eyes and does a whole lot of variety of things in the kitchen, baking, all sorts of things. And I'm saying, "Why are you not using this?" And she's like, "No, I just do it as a hobby." I said, "But that hobby can be put online and people can order and get to your house, get to your door, or maybe you can even post it to them. That is a tool." Many of us cook. We enjoy eating. We enjoy, serving and feeding others. And we're not saying that you always have to charge, because it's always that means I always have to charge for everything I do. No, you don't always have to charge for everything you do. But if we're looking for what is in our hands to use, those are some of the skills that we have.
Absolutely.
Looking after children. I have a friend of mine who had 4 children. Her house is still filled up with children because her love for children turned her into a foster care parent.
Wow. That's awesome.
Just her love for children. She had 4 children. She still had children in the house. So now her children are grown up. A couple of them are married, but they're all adults now. She's still looking after children, not as a favor, but also now as a way of income for herself and her family. And so the passion, the things that you enjoy doing without even labor, without even if you're tired, you say, "Oh, it's okay. You'll just take me 5 minutes to do." Those are the things that you can use to make money. Writing, some people know how to write letters for people. Some people know how to put business presentations together for people. So many soft skills that we can use, and it makes money for you. Somebody asked me recently to do something for them, and he was just so amazed at how quickly I was able to turn that out. And it's like, wow. And every time I do it, he goes like, wow. By the way, it's a wealth stream for me now. But the point I'm making, the things that many of us can do with our eyes closed, that we can see how you can even engage in that conversation. Maybe it's boldness that you need. Maybe it's just somebody to help you to see how you can package that whole thing. And that's where coaching comes in, and that's where we come into your life. But you all have something in your hands to use.
Yes.
Or we all have.
We do, yes. And Coach Amanda, you can share into that question if you would like, but I also would like for you to share, how did you recognize what was in your hands? How did you go from that place of kind of seeing what you were good at, seeing your talents, seeing your gifts, into healing and materializing that which was in your hands and making those things tangible? How did you activate those things?
I love this question because I thought about that, today while we were preparing as well. And one of the things is my entire life has been a preparation for it. It was that I didn't recognize it. So even I remember talking to my mom about, like, I used to go around to the elderly homes and I would, get their newspapers, and they just wanted me to sit with them. Well, it became a stream without me even knowing, because I was just taking care of a need of them. So that became a stream, and I was like 6 or 7, like it's small things like that. And then even as I came into, the college space and getting my undergrad, the dean of my university was like, you need to do this major, because I kept saying, I want to know all aspects of business. And I felt like if I went in a certain, areas in the university, I was going to be hindered. He said, no, go into this, because when you ask a question, they're going to let you in. And there's always been, even with battles and warfare, there's always been access granted. So I learned IT, I learned systems and integration, and I was in accounting. I was writing the checks for accounts payable. They would send me receipts and I would write a check. That was my job at the beginning.
Yeah.
But I was in the background with IT and human resources and how do we put these systems together. And I would sit in meetings with executives and there was no reason for me to even be there. I was not qualified, nor was that my job.
Yeah.
But because I started to recognize, like, hey, you can ask the question, they're letting you in. I was in training mode all the time. And that was one thing that the Lord started telling me. Now, granted, he did not tell me right off the bat, this is what was going to be happening. He would just be like, this is your training ground. Okay. And then I had, Apostle who was also telling me, hey, this is training ground. Start to ask the question, start to ask Jesus what you're supposed to be learning in the midst of what may not look like, business training. I was still, I'm still working. I had the warfare. I was still learning the skill sets. So I was getting access to all these different spaces. And then as I began to do that, plus they would send me out and network in the community. And it was like, okay, again, at the time, it made no sense why you would send somebody who's just writing the checks to a networking event. It's clear favor.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, this doesn't make any sense. I'm writing your checks. I am irrelevant to the situation. Insecurity. Why are you sending me here? Yeah. I am out here and you want me to introduce myself. And at the time in college, in my undergrad, the Lord had given me the name UADIAL for the ministry, and it was abundance and wealth and journey on business endeavors. And it sounded so wonderful. But then during this period, God started saying, you have to embody the name. And I was like, what does that mean? Yeah, I got to embody who I'm supposed to become, because I can't tell someone else to come into abundance and wealth.
Yes.
And then I don't go through the deliverance process. And even then I still get reminded now, like, you still have to go through that process in order to recognize my skill sets. And then I would say in the last few years, the same thing that I was doing for those other jobs, people start asking me, hey, can you help us put these systems together? Can you help us, get these books out there? Can you help us do these things? Okay. It became a string where people were coming to me. And then when I would do it for them, they would go out and say, go to her.
Yes.
And I'd be like, okay. But it was because and they would say, I stay in integrity. And so because I could stay in integrity, which was part of becoming UADIAL, because in the business arena, sitting in those office spaces, I watched compromise happen over and over and over, and how easy it was to sway from what your vision originally was to let me change this, let me compromise this. Yes, this could put us in jeopardy, but it shifted that whole thing. So I learned to stand. It was more of an integrity shift. And then coming into recognizing, okay, I already had these skill sets in my hand because they gave me access to everything I needed to make a stream.
Yes.
Even though my job was to write AP checks, they gave me system integrations. Thank you so much for those people. But they gave me access granted to those spaces. And then I came into the last few years of recognizing, oh, this is in my hand. I can actually multiply this, because people kept asking. And that's why I keep saying, if people are asking you for that, you got to pay attention. It's the biggest green flag when you're talking about wealth. If they keep asking you, you got to think, okay, there's something in me where they feel like I am the expert in this field. You may not feel like it, but you are the expert.
Yes.
You're the one they're looking for. You can break it down to them in ways that other people may not be able to. So that's part of my journey as well.
Yes, that is so excellent. That is so excellent. And kind of attached to that particular testimony, I would kind of want to know a little bit more about how can those who are actually in that same position where they do not see their potential and they're overlooking the fact that they're actually sitting on wealth, they're sitting on a gold mine. What are some things that they can look for to really activate them and help them shift into that place of becoming versus sitting back and, cowering in those situations? Because it sounds like you had to actually identify those things and then become and embody what God was telling you to do versus just talking about it, thinking about it. So I would want to know, what should the people be looking for to ensure that they don't compromise or overlook what's in their hands?
Can I go back on that? How do we able to do that? Yeah.
Oh, you want me to go ahead and answer? Or you want to? Oh, okay. So, I would say, as far as recognizing what's in your hands, there's a couple things. There are a lot of questions to ask yourself. And in our previous class that we taught, What's in Your Hands, we did a questionnaire, which I would be more than happy to send out. If you guys comment, I will send a link to that. But asking yourself the question of what are some skill sets that you continue to do and you're continuously repeating yourself. Are there creative things that you like to do? What is your passion? What are those things that come naturally and easy to you? And you don't even think about it. Coach Prey said it before. That was her cooking example. She does it with her eyes closed. Mm-hmm. There's nothing she has to really think about. Some of us be like, okay, Minister YouTube, let me find the measurements. This person is doing it with their eyes closed. It's natural to them.
Yeah.
If you can create lesson plans, like I will give another example. This isn't just business people out in the corporate world. This is homeschool moms and dads. Like, you have a stream. I have a group of homeschool moms now that were like, what are you talking about? What's in my hand? I said, you got a bunch of ideas. They are good at organizing. They do events constantly, especially as moms. They're doing events for their kids. They have programs for their kids. You know how to outline the lesson plans that are supposed to happen. So you know how to help maybe assist someone who may know how to teach, but they may not know how to organize their lesson plans in a way that makes sense for the outside world.
Yes.
There's plenty. So this isn't just for people who have the business ideas in their mind. It's the homeschool moms and dads. It's the college students. You got stuff in your hands. So it's asking your question, what's the stuff that I do in my sleep that is easy? It takes me 2.5 seconds to do. And in my mind, I will say, example for me, I'm always like, you didn't know how to do that? Like, this is easy to me, but it's because it comes naturally to me, or I've learned to, like, if somebody asks me, I may not know, but I'm going to go research it to figure it out.
Yeah.
And then it becomes part of my arsenal, because I'm going to be determined. I'm going to have everything in my arsenal that I can have in my arsenal, because I want to be a triple threat.
Yes.
And then people come, I'm just like, okay, yes, I have that. Let me go to my arsenal and grab that. I got you. Because that's how you build it. It's not that it has to be hard. It's what is already there. What is easy for you? What is natural to you? What are people already asking you for that you just feel like is totally insignificant, or like people should already know this? That's what's in your hands.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. That is very excellent. And I think what I hear you saying, in so many words, is that what are the things that you do effortlessly that could help bring ease to someone else's life? Because that is what we are looking for. We are looking to simplify. We're looking to stretch our time and to be as resourceful as we can in the earth. And so what you shared is so important, because if it's effortless to you, how much more can you reproduce by doing that and creating a system for that, where other people can glean from that and pay you for what you are already effortlessly doing? So that's good. Apostle Praise, did you have something you wanted to share?
Well, it's often said that footballers play and they make money. So whatever you're doing that looks like play, we know that they have to do their training and all that. But I think the key word was play, and yet they make money. And many of them started because they just loved football. And then they were identified by people. And that's really the key. People identify us with our strengths.
Yeah.
Okay. And so every one of us must just really be observant. Many times we're not observant with what people are identifying us with, because that's in the business world. You're looking, what increases the value of something is the demand. It's not the product, it's the demand of the product. So if there is an increase of demand from people, from you regarding a particular area, then that is a sign for you to be able to turn that into a stream of income or a stream of wealth.
Yes.
Yes.
It's so, and as I was saying that, I hear the word, like what Apostle was saying, that discernment is factual.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not,
Mm-hmm.
there's evidence. You pick up the phone or somebody calls you, can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? Can you help me with this? Even with the speaking that I talked about, there's been so many opportunities where people have called me to be a master of ceremony of their programs, and that is because of what I do. They've identified that, can you handle this for me? Can you lead this program? Can you come and sing? Because they've heard me do it. So it's not something that I'm now thinking, can I sing, can I speak, can I do the program? It's a thing of, yes, let me check my diary, because they've identified something. Recently somebody called me and said, can you do this? And they were asking, how much would you want? How much would you charge? And because of the relationship I had with the person, said, you don't have to, I won't charge you. I said, I wouldn't charge you, but please feel free with whatever you can. I said, okay, that's fine. And I did. They did give something towards it. And I came with a very big box of gift as well, which, I know they spent money for that. And in fact, it's out of my ministry and what the person I had identified that I could do. And now it's me. I didn't even put it out there that I could do that. So even with the creating the streams of income, just look for what people have identified from you, that, and especially if the demand is increasing. I heard a man of God once say, do not increase your value until your demand increases. So somebody would say, oh, all of a sudden, now I'm charging. How much are you charging? All of a sudden I'm charging. Now everybody doesn't want, they're not coming to me anymore. Because where did you start? If the demand is low, do it at a point so that people can afford you. And as the demand increases, you can now increase the value. Because the most effective way of publicity or marketing is word of mouth.
Mm-hmm.
Someone said, "Oh, that person." In fact, I was coming home yesterday, just very quickly, and I was thinking I was sharing with somebody. I was at a program where I emceed an event, and I didn't know. I think about a year after, a young lady called me, and she said, "I was at an event that you had coordinated." Now, this was now for her wedding. I said, and I made up my mind that when I was going to get married, you were going to be the MC. And I was like, wow, okay, I want you to do it. So it's another thing. It's very important as well when we have opportunities to do anything, whether it's for 2 people, 5 people, 100 people, always do it with excellence.
Yes.
Because that is another key that would make people come again, and also create what we call a repeat of marketing or a repeat sale, and then it increases. So it's just really being factual. What are people calling me for? What are they referring me, to other people about? Use that first before you start creating other things.
Yes, absolutely. So you all have spoken so much truth as it pertains to what's in our hands, how to identify that, how to embody what God is telling us, and how to really appreciate and value what He has put in our hands. But the truth of the matter is, we have to ask ourselves, are we ready to go to the level of being coached and having someone walk alongside us in order to produce the wealth that God has put inside of our hands? So both of you are coaches. Both of you are in a place to where you encourage people. And usually people are open to encouragement. They're open to validation. They're open to hearing all the great things you have to say about their businesses and what's in their hands. But what are some last things that you can leave people with? And what do you all feel is the mindset shift that needs to happen for someone to shift out of doing it alone and just going through the idea of what's in their hands versus coming into the fullness of getting a coach, trusting them with the process, and actually materializing what's in their hands?
Okay, so I will start off with everything that you're doing, there's somebody else that's already done it. Okay. And they have acquired much more experience. And, let me just give an example. Before Peter could say, "Can you bid me to come and walk on the water?" he saw Jesus walking on the water. And that gave him confidence to say, "Okay, since you're walking on the water, I'd love to walk on the water as well." So look for someone who is doing what you would love to do, and then get them to help you in your journey. That's what the coaching is about. So we're here to definitely help you on your journey to make your gift, your talent, your skills, your experience a tool.
Absolutely. That's so good. Prophet Amanda, Coach Amanda, anything else that you would like to share?
I would say this. I think that when it comes to a place of being coachable, it's okay that you're nervous, because it's in uncomfortability that we are developed. Mm-hmm. And so oftentimes we want to stay in our comfort and we want to stay in convenience. And when you do that, you miss the whole fruit of what a coach can do for you, because they're there to pull out of you what you didn't know existed. Mm. So they're not there. Although we like hearing all the wonderful things about us, there's not one person that does not like to hear all the wonderful things. Mm-hmm. That coach is there to pull out of you the greatness that's inside. And scripturally, there is power that works in you. So if you have not exercised the power, you can't say, "I want wealth."
That's good.
And exercise puts pressure on the muscles. Mm-hmm. That is the truth of the matter. So if you're not willing to put pressure on the muscle, mm-hmm, you need to search out whether you need to go through a healing process to face that first. Or if you're ready to go in, you need to recognize my coach is here to get me from point A to point B. Yeah. And they are determined because they see it inside of you. Mm-hmm. So it's not, and I will say this, a coach will have a love for you because they see the potential in you, but you have to be the one to realize the potential. And if you're ready for that, they're in position for that.
Absolutely. So excellent, both of you. Thank you, Coach Amanda. Thank you, Coach Praise. This has just been so empowering. And I think that, even as you all are considering joining us on May 17th, I want you to truly assess what is in your hands and search out, do I need a coach in order to go forward? Oftentimes, we don't know if we're ready. We haven't truly bought into the idea that we need someone to help us. But take a look at where you are on your journey, and have you gotten as far as you can get by yourself? Is it time to bring in a reinforcement to truly launch you out in what God is doing and allow you to expand so that you can be all that He has called you to be, and you can impact those around you? So lastly, I want all my wealth generators in the comment to drop a hand emoji if this has resonated with you, if this has blessed you. And I want you to share what is in your hands. Type in the comments, "I believe in my hand is," and you put what is in your hands. Would love to see what you all are holding, what you are possessing, and what you already have that we can continue to materialize and bring to the May 17th live teaching. In that teaching, you are going to get so much wisdom, revelation, and there are going to be some hands-on activations. So if this has blessed you, you must join us for the full What is in Your Hands webinar on May 17th. We will be deep diving into uncovering your true identity, stewarding what's already in your hands, building the activations from within so that you are able to lead with clarity, strategy, and a personalized activation plan to step into what God has called you to step into and live the life of abundance that He has for you. All right. So we have our event link right there. If you would like to join us, please go ahead and register for the event. God bless each and every one of you. Thank you. And we look forward to seeing you on May 17th.
Yes. Looking forward to seeing you all. The link is definitely on the top of the interview that we've just done, or the conversation we've just done. So please feel free to register with that link, and I'll also put it on the chat as well.
Awesome. Everybody have a blessed day.
Thank you.